My name is Sade Melendez. What is the significance of how the Founding Fathers set up our government, the way they spelled out the different branches of government in our Constitution?
Picture the scene. We just fought the Revolutionary War, and the people who fought and those who were the intelligentsia at the time, the lawyers, the people we know as our Founding Fathers, sit down and they now have to write a constitution that divides up the power in government. After all, they just fought a king who was like a dictator, and they didn't want all the power residing in any one person or branch of government. So they decided that the best way to do that was to divide the power, separate the power, if you will, into three branches of government.
And they felt that there are three major functions of a government. There's a legislative function that passes the laws that we live by. There's an executive function that carries out those laws and enforces them. And there's a judicial function that settles disputes about the laws and under the laws, and a court where citizens can go to seek redress for the violation of the laws. So when our founders established the Constitution, the legislative function is set up in the legislature, the Congress of the United States, and equivalently in the state legislatures. The president executes those laws, carries them out, and then the judiciary, of which I'm a member as part of the system of courts in the United States, exercises the judicial function. The separation of powers means that none of those three areas can try to take over the functions of others.
When I think about the separation of powers, it really boils down to one thing: not stepping on the other guy's toes. And I don't mean this in a Miss Manners sense, but in a constitutional sense, because the Constitution lays out a role for every player in government.
Having independent branches, they are then able to be a check on the other branches in terms of protecting this citizenship from any one part of government developing absolute power. So it becomes very important that not only are the branches independent, but that they have the ability to impact another branch's efforts to take too much power.
And I think it contributes to a workable government because in order for the government to function, the various branches have to a certain extent, cooperate, to a certain extent, work together. The executive, the Congress especially, and then of course the judiciary is a little bit different since they're not elected like the president or the Congress, but they hold the power to make sure that the executive and Congress doesn't do things that are not in keeping with the Constitution.
The founders of our country thought it would be useless for a Constitution to say that people enjoy liberty unless that Constitution also was structured in a way to make sure that that liberty was protected. Separation of powers is therefore essential not only to our form of government, but to the very liberty of our people themselves.
This video is a project of the Leonore Annenberg Institute for Civics of the Annenberg Public Policy Center of the University of Pennsylvania and the Administrative Office of the U.S. Courts.